Good morning to everyone. I am Fabrizio Santini, and I'm here to speak with you about sustainable practices for resource management in tourism, pointing out our focus on water, energy, waste, and mobility. I will produce two lessons, that's the part one, and we'll see together what we will speak about in the next slides. As you see from the structure of the two lessons that I will take, we are now in the first lesson, lesson number one. I will speak about those topics. I will briefly introduce myself. I will tell you who I am. I will try to show you how those four problems, four topics that I will have to speak about, so water, waste, energy, and mobility, are strongly interconnected and are regarding our territory and a destination, not only tourism. I will give you some information about which are my data rooms, from where do I take all the data, facts and figures, graphs, tableau that I will show you. And then during this lesson, I will go deeper in the topic of water and waste. In both cases, giving you some data, pointing out some main problem, and showing you some best practice that are happening around the world and in Italy in the tourism fields to face problems connected with water and waste. In the lesson number two, I will point our attention on energy and mobility, and I will end speaking about some certification that are effective and that are made by independent bodies. So let's start with our first lesson. Who I am? I'm a nature guide, so I was, since I was 20, in Italian we say guida ambientale escursionistica, and I work since many years in the field of environmental education. I work since 2008 for the Italian Fondazione per lo Sviluppo Sostenibile, Sustainable Development Foundation. That it's a think tank, it's a ONG, not-for-profit organization, not governmental organization, that is giving advice to public body, so administration, communities, to national park, protected area, to enterprises and businesses to become more sustainable. I am part of the task force in Federparchi, is the Italian Association of the Protected Area, and in Europark, that it is the European Association of all the protected area, being part of the task force that is now in those months, here we are in Ireland just a few weeks ago, working on the European Charter for Sustainable Tourism. We are making a renovation, a revamping of this very important certification. I will speak about this certification in the next lesson. So let me start with this picture, with this photo, that can a little bit astonish you. But my question normally when I make lessons in presence is if it's this kind of people is now in this picture making something that is sustainable. Most of the people gaze at me and is not sure of what they have to answer. Many people answer no, they are doing nothing sustainable. But I'll show you the next picture. And those people is producing energy, dancing, pushing their feet, jumping on some piezoelectric tabs. So why I'm starting my presentation with this picture and with this strange topic? Because when we speak about innovation, when we speak about sustainability, waste management, water management, energy production and efficiency, mobility, then we have to speak not only about nature, but also about innovation and cities. This picture reminds you to something that we can have in our mind when we speak about sustainability and tourism. Here you can see on your left Federico Comandi, that he's a young entrepreneur, that he works in the field of regenerative agriculture. He's doing many practices to spare water. And that's a kind of innovation that we call retro innovation, feedback innovation. What does it mean? It means that using on your left side, planting trees or planting plants for a vegetable garden in Wales, that's the shape of the territory that we give, that are a little bumpy on the earth. You spare a lot of water. And where it is the innovation? The innovation is that there is also a drop plants that give water by a drop from a well, but this is connected to some sensor, digital sensor, that say on the smartphone of Federico when you have to give water or not. So you see, you can use new technologies, innovation, pointing out, targeting some old values. The old values is the spare of water, and then conserving the landscape. As you see the photo on the left, it's quite similar to this Fattori painting that is depicting Maremma. Maremma is the place in Tuscany where this agriculture is happening. So when we speak about tourism and waste management, we think often about this kind of situation, but we have to think also about that one. I also have to point out that the tourism in sustainable cities as Freiburg, Hamburg, Paris, Ferla in South Italy, it's rising up. So it's also something that we have to keep in mind. Also because in 2050, two-thirds of the world population will live in cities. And this will happen in countries where the GDP, the income is high, where in medium and when it's low, but most of them will be cities that are in the east or far east of our world, as you see from these two graphs. So problem of waste, problem of water, problem of energy, problem of mobility. I should better say the words challenges more than problem. Anyhow, those challenges are interconnected, are worldwide, and they touch, of course, the tourism sector, but they have to be solved, faced also with they have to also be faced with solutions that are important for the community where the tourism happens. So what I want to say with this, I want to say that normally problem of water, waste, mobility, and energy must be solved with the community, for the community where tourism will happen, and then think about in a participatory way which can be the solution for the tourism sector and for the tourism activity. This is one kind of participatory process. This is one of my specialization. I facilitate many of those groups, helping communities to find solutions. And so many things that I will tell you come from those kind of situations that also can be managed also very good from in presence, but also online. I will go very fast in this. Working with community will mean looking at assessing the problem of the community, planning solution, implement them, and then engage people, review what happened, communicate the results. That's very important. We will speak about water, about energy. We will go deeper in facts and figures, but that's the situation of the rising up of the CO2 emissions in the world from the 50s until 2021. In 23, we have new data, as you see, and the emission reached most 37.4 billion tons of CO2 equivalent all around the world, it has not seems to you that it's strange that I show you these emission rates and graphs when I will have to speak about water, but also water is connected with CO2 emission. The CO2 of water, think about of the sewage and all the refining and cleaning water. That is the way in which these 37.4 billions of tons of CO2 are separated, are distributed in different sectors. And as you can see, and we will see better later, in industry, in electricity, in agriculture, in transportation, in buildings, there is part of those emissions, and all those sectors are involved in tourism. This will be in 2000, this is in 2003, the burden sharing of the emission all around the world. But we will go deeper in those graphs better next lesson when we will speak better about energy. What I have to tell you is that every one of the last 10 years, since 2013, so more than 10 years, seems to be the hottest year of the century, of the last century, and this is something that we have to face all together. All those things connected to climate change, they seems to be every time happening far away from us, but that is something that happened near to my house. I live in Tuscany, in south of Tuscany, just years ago. So now all those problems, as we know from all the news in TV, are happening near to us. This is what can happen, speaking about water, through a simulation. On your left, what happened in Ferrara, in Emilia-Romagna, North Italy, if the temperature will rise average in about 2 degrees Celsius. And right, you're right, you see how Ferrara can be if the temperature will rise in connection with the greenhouse gas emission in the next years. This is what can happen to Riccione in Emilia-Romagna. It's a very important Italian tourism city, and when the sea it's going over buildings, as you see in this simulation, you have to imagine that all this will cost not only life, we hope nobody will be hurt, but will cost businesses, because here beaches and discos and pubs and bars and restaurants will go underwater if we continue with these tendencies that we are doing. But I'm not here to speak with you only about bad things, but also about good news. Many politicians or also citizens, they think that who care about environments want to be too fast. This Green New Deal, this transformation, moving to a society that is more inclusive, more green, more efficient, is too early. But I just wanted to remind you that the first definition of sustainable development was set up in 1987 by the Brundtland Commission in one important document that is Our Common Future. And much before, in 1972, already this group of scientists that was led by the woman Donella Meadow, they produced a document that is called The Limits to Growth, that, as you see from this table, can show you what can happen around 2050. And this is a prediction that was made in 1972. If we rise up in population too much, but if we rise up in industrial output, in food production, but in use of natural resources, in pollution, there will be a moment in which there will be a crack. The pollution will be too much, the climate change will be too hard to face, and the food production and natural resources will decrease critically with the number of people of population. But as I told you, this is the bad side of the story. The good side of the story is that in many parts of the world, we are trying to face those challenges with some targets, some activities, some actions. The most important in this period are the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, called also Agenda 2030, that are 15 objectives subdivided in sub-targets that all around the world we should put our strength to reach in 2030. So no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality of education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth for all, innovation in the industry and smart infrastructure, reduce the inequality around the world, sustainable cities and sustainable communities, responsible consumption and behavior. We will speak a lot about this, the goal number 12. As you see, many of them are connected with the tourism sector, and later on we will go deeper in this topic. And then goal number 13, climate action. 14, life below water. 15, life on land, so biodiversity. 16, peace, justice, strong institution. And 17, partnership for reach all those goals. So we can do it together. I will show you some problem. I will show you some solution and some best practice. So we were speaking about data room. Which are my data rooms? I mean, where are the places where I take out most of the numbers, of the facts and figures that I will show you in the next slides, and that I already showed you a bit until now. From up, the United Nations World Tourism Association. If you will have those slides, you can link on those logos and you can go directly to the website. Many data I was taken out from the World Travel and Tourism Council, from the UNEP, so United Nations Environmental Program, and particularly regarding the emission from the International Energy Agency. So let's dive into water, the first of the 4 topics that I have to speak with you. Remember, water, waste, energy, mobility. So water, let's go in this very interesting platform that you can find on the World Travel Tourism Council's website, that can give to us on a world level, European level, African level. You can skip, you can filter the information in many ways. The low-income countries, so we will see some of them, not all. I want just to give you some hints. I don't want to bore you with so many data, but just to set up with you the, as you can see, the state of the art, and then you can go deep and farther in the data if you're interested by yourself. So what about the water? In the tourism sector in Europe, we are using the 5.1% of the fresh water at disposal in the world. So in Europe, the data, it's a bit higher than in the world, where the average, you see in the upper part of the slide, is 4.1. As you can see from this histogram, from this column, between 2010 and 2019, there was an important increasing, a strong increasing of the use of water. If you want to see where the water is used, in direct use, green, and value chain, domestic, hell blue, and value chain international dark blue, but you can see here on the top, you can read what does it mean, all the colors. Then, of course, in the pandemic and post-pandemic year, there was a reduction of the use of water, especially in tourism. And then there is a new rise up in 2022. The data, the last certified data are from 2022. So this structure of the tendencies, we will see that will happen in many of the other sectors: waste, energy, mobility. So a big increase between 2010 and 2019, a big decrease in the pandemic and post-pandemic years, a new increase right now, but it is not reaching the level of 2019 with the same more numbers of tourists. This means that in this moment, between 2019 and 2022, something was happening, and it is so that's the good news, in efficiency and in sustainability action. So what we can do facing those problems? First of all, we have to give information to the people that move to the tourism and help them to be aware of their water print impact. There are many websites where you can digit water footprint, and you can calculate your water footprint according to your behavior as a customer and as a tourist. I will speak you better in the second lessons. The many certifications, as the European Charter for Sustainable Tourism, ask to the structure, hotel, bed and breakfast, museums, to pay particular attention to water sparing, water efficiency, water reuse, no single-use plastic, and this will be for all the other things, also for energy, for waste. So I will speak better in an organic way about what some protected area or destination, touristic destination, can do in the second lesson. But generally, remember to reduce the water, to reuse water, to reduce the use. I mean, as in the camping, when you go making camping, you don't throw away water. Water is something you use and you use and you reuse. And just at the end, you throw it away, possibly giving water to the trees or to the plants. Refill your bottle, not use disposable plastic, or use local food and local water. In the back of many bottles, there is written from where this water is coming, and the top water is very good. Top water in most of the part of the world, and in Italy and in Europe, is controlled every week, while the water that you can find in the supermarket in the plastic bottle are controlled normally every 6 months or every year. So the water from the top, it's also very, very, very good. And then, if you can, make a shower and take a shower and not a bath when you are in one hotel or in one bed and breakfast, that they normally should have those structure on the top that reduce the amount of water coming out. Those are just some simple suggestion, and some of those are transformed in best practices when we go around the world. For example, here we are in central Italy, in Tuscany. You can see on the bottom part on the right, Renzo Piano, that he is an important architect. He projected and then realized this winery. Here we produce wine, and all in this structure is thought, is projected, is designed to spare water. So all the structure is keeping the water that is raining. All the trees and vineyard use water from 2 or 3 small artificial lake, but well integrated in the landscape. So that's an example. Another